I can't, again, this is my relationship with my cat. I don't know which one each of us are, because it's different moments. Cookie Maho, and welcome to a wonderful review of Wonderful Precure. I will actually be covering Wonderful Precure for the season. I also will be moving Magical Murmurs to Wednesdays for anybody who is looking for that. But without further ado, let's get into the episode. So right off the bat, we get to see Iroha and Komugi, and we get to see their lovely relationship. It's so cute. We also get to see a bit of Animal Town, which looks like we're going with a seaside town, which makes a lot of sense because it'd be kind of hard to have the animal season in a location when animals are like so big. Like Tokyo and stuff can't really have the bigger animals, so I'm happy that they've chosen a location that fits the sort of wildlife that they're going to be dealing with this season. I also just love that we already have this subversion with having a dog as our main character. Mugi is absolutely adorable. Also, shout out to the dad having premium male wife energy, like one of the first characters we meet, and he is already a sweet bean. Must protect. Love him all the way. I also love the detail of having the walk early in the morning. Obviously it's because she's Iroha is doing it because she has school, but I also like it because typically you want to walk dogs a little bit earlier in the morning because you don't want to get their little toes burnt on the asphalt. I also really love how detailed the animals are for this season. They went for more realistic with some of the animals that we see, which I think is super cute. You can definitely feel the delicious party vibes we have with the art style. This is very similar to how they handled the food for that season, as well as the fact that this season has a lot of bloom effect, which I love. I love things that are shiny, and we're going to see a lot of shiny, glowy stuff, and it's just beautiful. I also like the detail that on the back of Komugi's head is a little heart. I think both Komugi and Yuki have little hearts on the back of their heads, which, interesting detail. I don't think we've seen the back of Daifuku's head, so keep an eye out for that. I also love this shot in the opening. I'm not going to go through the opening in its entirety, but I do love this shot in the opening. The packs look so good. Again, you can see a lot of the bloom effect. It's just super pretty. I'm geeking out over it. I love this eye catch so much. It's so cute, and it's like one of the most like decorative ones. Like the detail for all the bows and everything having this kind of like gold embellishment, it just looks so good. And then we see, I believe, the Nico Garden animals. I can't remember what they were called, but we see all of them lined up here, which it's going to be very interesting to see how they ultimately join the team as the episode goes on. Her mom is so... I believe her name is Yoko. Stop, she's so pretty. She also, again, she has like the little glowy glue effect on her hair. It kind of reminds me of like Cure Whip, but I also kind of want to like, just like, want to squeeze it. Looks like gum. Very pretty. And immediately we get a little bit of what I think is going to be an overarching concept throughout this season, which is going to be these like attachment issues. I'm curious if that's going to be something that we cover like pretty early on in the series, or if this is going to be like a long-running attachment thing. But the other thing that we get a lot of is beautiful reaction faces, especially from our animals. They are giving perfectly memeable moments, and I stand. I also really like this brown outfit that we're rocking for Iroha. It's very, again, same designer from Delicious Party. They also had brown outfits for their uniforms. I'm kind of attached to it. It's so gentle and it just allows the colors to come through. I like the designs a lot. Also, I love this little like handshake that they have. It's so cute. I know we're gonna see that like a million times in the show, but it's so precious. We also just get another little squish face. She's a precious little sad dog. This is how I hope my cat is when I leave my apartment, but I get the impression my cat does not care. I also think we get a good tease that once Komugi gets her human form, there might be a chance that she starts going to school, but I think that's really going to depend on whether the family is okay with the fact that Komugi's now a full-on human. It's going to be interesting how they handle that. Whether the parents know or if she just has a human form but never goes to school. Now this gym is really interesting to me. This broken gym that I can only imagine that this is the Nico Garden. I don't know that for sure, but I get the vibe that this is the Nico Garden. It's gonna be, I think this gym is gonna play a pretty large role in it, and it being destroyed also seems to be quite interesting. I wonder if it has anything to do with a stone that we will see later in the episode. And then here, for people who have not seen some of the promotional images, I believe this character is Mei. He is calling to Nico-sama, which is starting to get an impression that it being the Nico Garden is not just a whole joke about, like, you know, it's the Smile Garden. There's somebody actually named Nico. He also calls to the Precure, which we have a season. I feel like it's been a bit of a moment since we've had a season that definitively has a clue what the Precure power is. So I'm hoping Mei will shed some light on that in the future. We also, interestingly enough, see specific animals here in the scene. We see a horse, we see an ostrich, a tiger. Off to the side, there's some kind of bird character that is also getting transformed into our Shugokara eggs, which interesting things to note. Also, I just want to point out real quick the architecture in this series. So far, people's houses do not hold back. Like, now that we're in a rural area and we have a lot more space, these houses are very elaborate. Like this, look at this porch. It goes on for days. I also, again, pointing out art because I'm just obsessed with art. I love this kind of wash, sketchy, mixed media, like watercolor, a bit of like maybe pastels for this sort of like dream nightmare sequence. It's very pretty despite a very sad issue happening, which is we're back to the attachment issues, which I think they do really well with how they connect it in this specific episode. Toy Story vibes where it's like, I don't want to play with you anymore. I love this sequence right here because it reminds me of that one TikTok dog where the girl is just like pampering them, like total dog spa moment. Again, Komugi is living the good life. I can see why she's very attached to Iroha. Here we have Satoru, enter Satoru, immediately going for the like most stereotypical Megane tropes. He's inquisitive, he thinks, he's the smart one of the group. He also have cute little Daifuku with still, I don't think we got anything from this episode to give us any idea about Daifuku. He and or she and or they are a complete mystery. We also get a little bit of the lore here. I'm very interested about the Mirror Stone and the whole concept of its reflection. I also, bringing back the crystal we saw a bit of time ago during that sort of like villainous sequence, I am going on the theory that those two things are connected. If anything, I would say the Mirror Stone probably came from that big crystal, but that's just a guess. I also love that he's completely caught off guard by Iroha, just like time and time again. I also like that it has this wish concept. If you do see yourself in the Mirror Stone, you get a wish. Ah, he's so adorable. What a cute little bean. I love that Iroha's like, I've been wishing to talk to animals, and I'm like, girl, wish no longer. You are now in a series where you will definitely be talking to animals. I do love that her current wish is to be in the same class as Satoru. I also think that's interesting because I believe for Japanese classes, they're divided very much based on your performance in school. So if like you're doing really well in school, you get put in a higher class. So I think this has hope that Iroha is not going to be our dingus character. It's gonna be nice that she's like a little bit smart. I also think it mentioned earlier that she is on the volleyball team, so we do know that she's going to be kind of the sporty type. I love that we have Komugi do a little sigh, but hey, she gets a wish. She gets her little reflection, so ma'am is getting a wish. I guess technically speaking, Iroha is also being reflected in this moment too, so, you know. Episode 2 things. Ah, yes, we get a nice close-up of our Shugokara. Causing problems in the forest, as one does. I also love the eye catch right here. I love eye catch a lot. And it's a little dream sequence. I also see that product placement. I see them throwing in here the little pretty holic lipstick in there at the last second. Adorable. We do learn that we once again have a character connected to Pretty Holic, so we get Sango 2.0 here, with Yuki and Mayu living inside the building house location. Also, Yuki is just an absolute mood. I can't tell if she's me or if she's my cat, because I'm sure my cat has given me this look before. She is an absolute precious bean. But I do love that, like, despite being the sassiest thing alive, Yuki is very supportive of Mayu, like, having friends and getting along and trying to encourage her. Like, despite not being able to talk, I think they put so much personality in Yuki already. I also love that I called that Mayu is a shy bean. She is our tsundere-esque, shy, chaotic entity. This is my relationship with my cat. I don't know which one each of us are, because it's different moments. But that's us. You also can, again, in this shot, you can see the heart shape on the back of Yuki's head. That just, the faces, the looks. This cat does not move from this window, but she has 1,001 faces. Look at that. That's a smug little cat. And we get the appearance of what I can only imagine is part of the Mirror Stone. And immediately I was like, this is a very compact shape. This is a very compact shaped item right here. I do love that Komugi's like, huh, what is this? What is this object here? I also love that the dogs have, like, a sixth sense. It's usually we have, like, fairies or something relevant to figuring out if a bad thing is occurring. I like that all the dogs can sense it. It's very similar to Healing Good, where Latte was the one who was able to detect if something bad was happening, so Sixth Sense dogs, we still got it. Which I think, it's probably going to be a Sixth Sense with all the animals, but I love that that's included. I think that's a good feature. Also, this girl needs to leave the volleyball team and join track and field. Like, she will put Fontaine to shame. Like, she clears this fence like nobody's business. This whole running sequence, she is going off. And I am in tears with this sequence, with Komugi being like a scaredy cat. This ties perfectly back into the dream sequence we had earlier, where she feels like she can't join Iraha, she can't help out. And then in this one, she's specifically paralyzed in fear, but like watching her get over that and like running and having that moment where she like has the power to turn into a cure, specifically also turning into a human. This is done so well. I love it. All of it to accumulate into this moment where she stands and defends, like, oh, it's so Precure. This is why I love Magical Girl series. I also want to put out that the voice acting in this scene was so good. Her calling out Iroha was just mwah, chef's kiss. Premium voice acting, especially since this is the first we really get to hear her truly voice act outside of making dog noises. And then we move into this transformation sequence, which interestingly is shorter than usual, but I also think that the Hiroguru Sky transformations were just really, really long by comparison. I love the little silhouettes of animals back here. I think we've got like an ape, a camel, a dog, wolf, penguin. I like this whole, like, I mean, the line is my evolution. So I like that they have all these like animals in the background. I also love that they go for this like kind of shattered glass effect with the yellows, pinks, and purples, which is very interesting compared to the last one they did with the delicious party backgrounds being much darker than the characters. I also like how light this touch is here on the compact. It feels very like Sailor Moon with the way that she interacted with compacts. It's also nice to finally see this countdown. I've been seeing the commercial forever where there's the little girls doing the 3, 2, 1. It's so nice to see this. It's nice to see this as it actually is. And then we get the little, wow, so cute. I also love that they alternate between having like big pew moments in the transformation to having kind of these softer, smoother additions. It feels really satisfying, and the timing is also really, really nice. I also love the, if you look here, you got the bows that will, like you have the magic bow that will pop into a real bow, and then the crown I think is really interesting. The crown is probably one of the biggest features that I have questions about in the transformation. Because the crown, they have this actual, like, tiara crown slide to the side, and then boom into an actual, like, her version of a crown. Overall, it's super cute. I also love that we're bringing back lace. It's very, very subtle, but we have a little bit of lace in the back. And also her transformation has a focus on playtime. I do wonder if the transformation is on the shorter side because she'll have a duo transformation with Friendy? Question mark? I actually love the way they handled this shield. I wish they did shields like this more, where instead of just like, it's a shield, I love that it's a paw. And then when the Garu Garu attacks it, he kind of bounces off. It's kind of like when you squish the little paw pad of a little cat or dog and go squish squish. I also love that we keep her like silliness attached here, where she's like, "Why are you being a garu? You're not gonna get a treat if you do that." And overall, this sequence is just so well animated and it's so fun. I get that some people are going to be less fond of this because it isn't fighty as other seasons have been, and normally I would be with you. I honestly don't typically love the seasons that aren't like kicking and punching the way the like OG Futariwa did. However, I am letting this slide for two reasons. One, Huroguru Sky was very much like, we're punching. There will be punches. So after like the punch heavy season, it's nice to have something different. I do like that we change things up, and she's still being very like, there's not a lot of magic utilized here. She is running around and jumping and springing and everything. There's honestly barely any magic in this episode at all. But the other thing is, if there's ever a moment where pacifism makes a lot of sense to me, I like that this season does have it be animals. I'm like, they're the ones who need love. I also like that there's a focus on the mask. The mask seems to be what's causing the problem here. It's an interesting little detail. I also love that it's the way that she hugs Garu Garu. That's what gives away to Iraha that, wait, this might be Komugi. But yeah, this is the magic moment we have in here. This is the usage of magic. And again, something people might not love about this episode is the lack of there being any kind of stock footage, which is very interesting to me because typically the reason why there is stock footage, like the actual production reason there's stock footage, is because it's an easier way to sort of fill time so we don't have to sit here and animate stuff. We can just reuse what we've got. So the fact that they don't have any stock footage out of the, except the short transformation for Cure Wonderful, it goes to show you how much animation and effort was put into this episode at the end of the day. And there's a lot of really good Sakuga moments here between just like the regular characters and the actual like Cure fight. So I do find that very interesting. But I would say that the likelihood that they didn't have any kind of stock footage here for an attack at the end of this might be on the grounds that they're saving it for a dual attack or a dual purification between her and Friendy towards the Garu Garu. That's just a theory. And then we've got Mei purified, so if you had not picked up on it before, the Ram I think kind of gave it away that the monster we got was Mei. The hands are so well animated here, and we have like just a little cute moment where we bring back the secret handshake between them, and that's how we confirm who it is. It's so cute, so goofy. I love just the goofy energy between our two mains. Like I feel like we usually have very opposite personalities for our dual characters, so it's very interesting to see what kind of personality we have between Komugi and Iroha. Especially since I'm getting a lot of Nagisa vibes from Iroha. These two are adorable. I also love that the hair clip on Iraha matches the Wonderful Pact. It's an interesting little detail they got going there. And then we have our moment at the end of the episode that feels very much like an Ari and I. It's so cute. I also like that our ending dance has moved back to using thicker line art for our 3D models. They've been moving to like a very, very thin line art forever, so to switch to a much more solid kind of grease pencil outline, very pleasing to me. Especially since my favorite ending sequence was Go Princess and they had pretty thick outline. Overall, this ending sequence feels very, very Mahotsukai to me. But the platform is pretty wide for this ending sequence, so I'm curious how they're going to add Lillian and Miami. Since I'm getting the impression that those two are probably not our mid-season cures with how they're introduced, and I'm hoping we'll get them before we hit like episode 22. I love the graphical moments we get in here. This looks so cute. I love the usage of patterns, and then we see just like the overall colors of the season. I think they did a great job with how they've kind of color matched the pink, purple, blue, and green. It just seems to fit, especially since we've moved away from the very stereotypical pink, blue, and yellow. I also love that the present opens up into the overarching stage. I'm kind of sad that the elements of the stage go with a basic kind of PBR lighting. A little bit more realism instead of doing something a little bit more emissive and having that like cartoon look that our two girls have. But you know, I'll let it slide. I do see, and don't act like I didn't see that product placement they have there on the right with the Pretty Holic stuff and the Wonderful Pact. Overall, though, the stage is really cute. I think they did a good job. Shout out to the 3D modelers for getting all the details in there. I also think the lighting works pretty well for the day to night change, especially the transparent materials for the models is looking really nice. Between the gems as well as the powder over there looks pretty good. And overall, this was a really good first episode to Wonderful Precure. I'm excited to keep going. I'd love to hear your own thoughts on the episode, any theories you have. Bring it all on in the comment section below. And until next time.